This is when Tupac decided to leave Death Row. While at Death Row Pac felt trapped in an obligation that he didn't want to obtain. He felt that he sold out his beliefs and himself, as he would even switch his style from the political conscious route into a more street-savvy style rapper to represent Death Row's gangsta rap image. The rituals that Pac saw within the entertainment industry started getting more bizarre, and it drove him crazy. From having Quincy Jones, Pac was engaged to his daughter, asking him to fuck him in the ass, according to Professor Griff, to the weird pictures taken in the tub wrapped in chains. Tupac seemed to have had enough of the industry and was going to work on his Machiavelli album, which was going to be a bombshell. He not only would address not only his enemies but also the people who were pulling the strings, which is why he named it Illuminati, the 7-Day Theory. From turning down the Jones ritual and actually claiming to kill the Illuminati, Pac was marked for death, and he knew it. The Machiavelli album was going to be the album that was going to shake up the industry. He said himself that he did All Eyes on Me was an album done for Suge, and that this album was going to be darker and him going back into dropping knowledge. Upon recording this album, it seemed that Pac was either foretelling his death or figured his name was calling, so he was going to spend his last days fearing no one. He completed the album in 7 days, further showcasing his genius as an artist and further fueling the rumors of him wanting to leave. Many of the Death Row artists were afraid of asking about their money and allowed Suge to punk them out for many years. Pac, realizing that his deal was almost up, felt he had nothing to lose, started asking Suge about the money that was owed to him, and there were many arguments between the two, which Pac was ready to fight Suge. And he would throw him a couple of grand and a car to keep him happy. It would be the same tactic that Suge would do to many of his artists, as Snoop Dogg would claim in the March 1998 Source issue. Another thing that people didn't notice is that Pac wasn't even wearing the Death Row medallion as much anymore during the record of Machiavelli. He was wearing his euthanasia medallion even more in public. He actually walked in NYC, which was Biggie's stomping ground, to address Nas in front of 70 of his people at Central Park with just 15 of his people with him. Snoop Dogg talked about this during an interview earlier this year. Pac had plans of doing a One Nation project featuring Boot Camp Click, Greg Nice, Melly Mel, Bone Thugs, Spice One, Scarface, Big Daddy Kane, The Loonies, and others, to show that he still had love for NYC and that his issues were mainly with certain people in that state. He also had plans of Machiavelli Records and further continuing that movement after leaving Death Row. Suge knew that he couldn't have his biggest asset leave the company at a time where they were making so much money. He had already lost Dr. Dre, which was a huge contributor to their sound, and was actually the originator of the Death Row sound, so having Pac leave would result into many questioning from his artists that he knew cheated money out of, and Pac leaving would put the company in a serious hole. The only way Suge could have possibly kept Pac's masters and catalog with him is if he had him killed, according to one of Death Row's ex-bodyguards. Pac didn't even want to go to Tyson fight in Las Vegas that night, but he figured that it was in his destiny to go, and knew he was going to go down sooner or later, so he went ahead after confinement from Suge and company. I'm not going to break down the details of his whole death because it's been done many times before. But there was no denying that Pac's reasoning for being killed has to be his new inner fearlessness of Suge Knight's muscle, or the fact that the higher-ups saw him as too much of a serious threat. A rapper selling 7 to 8 million records addressing the Illuminati and wanting to kill it? That's way too much power for a young black artist to have. Mix that with his Black Panther background and you have a serious problem. They possibly felt that they had to eliminate Pac and use Suge to do it. When the Machiavelli album dropped after Pac's death, it was like a bomb dropping into the industry. The cover art had Tupac duplicated as Jesus Christ, and he's hung on a cross with the nails showcasing that he was crucified by the media. You can even check the booklet where it has no thank you, shout-outs or nothing, just, the Machiavelli album was the bombshell and final album that he recorded before his death. It continues where Hit 'Em Up left off, and you can feel Pac's rage, anger, and venom as he went at all of his adversaries on My Bomb first and Against All Odds respectively. What's different this time around is that Pac is addressing the people who he felt were involved with him being set up with the rape charges and shot in 1994, Haitian Jack, Jimmy Henchman, King Tut. The Machiavelli album would be labeled as Pac's best work to date, as he delivers an album good enough to please all of his fans and keep new ones. The album further cemented Pac as a legendary icon figure.